All right, we got Sydney today.
There is so much conversation around what women expect guys to pay for when they first start dating and throughout the relationship. But something I never really hear people talk about, I think I know why. It's the fact that a lot of times, not always, the things that the girl kind of wants the guy to pay for are the things that she was getting for free when she was single. Single girls have the opportunity to get so much for free. But the thing is, I feel like anytime somebody talks about the things that they get for free, people swarmed to the comment section being like, nothing's actually free, basically implying that she was doing something to get that. The truth is, people like to be around pretty women, and it's as simple as that. When I first started dating my husband and he came and visited my family in Texas for the first time, went to the gym together, and he asked me how much my membership there cost, and I was like, I don't have a membership. The guy who owns the gym likes me and lets me work out there for free. We ended up moving. It wasn't even a question. My husband just got my gym membership. Is how
So everything she's saying is true, but I'm going to discuss a couple of variables here that are so abstract for whatever reason in society now that you can't discuss them properly without being immediately put into a camp. But obviously, I'm going to delve into it because, you know me, I like the actual truth, not some sort of filtered pseudo reality where we have to buy into certain fantasies and objective realities as it suits one party or one group, if you know what I'm talking about. The main issue I have with this concept is how disingenuous a lot of girls are when it comes to taking benefits from this while claiming that they're not doing so and that it's purely just arbitrary and coincidental. You can't simultaneously shame the quote unquote patriarchy, let's call it, while taking benefit from the same system you're shaming. It doesn't make any sense to do so. And it's extremely disingenuous. If you're going to stand on principle, then you have to do so in a way where you completely detach yourself from the system you so vehemently disagree with. Of course, this pretty much never happens in reality, and what girls do is they very carefully construct all of these cases where somehow they can bypass their own rule set, and they're very, very good at compartmentalizing in a way where they get maximum benefit with the least amount of responsibility. It's also become a social taboo to hold them accountable, so if you do so, you're pretty much putting yourself in the ick category. So you really can never contest any of this if you have any intention of going to bed with them or anything like this. Of course, my recommendation is that principle is more important than getting laid. So I think that you should, at least privately, maybe not socially, take a stance on these things. But I do see it as a very interesting covert feminist agenda. The line of logic goes something like this: I'm independent. I don't need you to pay for me. I don't want you to protect me. But if you don't do so, I'm still going to get icked out because that's what you're supposed to want to do. And if you don't defend me, I'm going to be annoyed and think you're a pussy because you didn't stand up for me, even though I'm supposed to stand up for myself. And if you claim that you want to stand up for me, and somehow you're a bad guy and insinuating that I am beneath you. Think about the craziness. Think about the mental gymnastics you have to put yourself through in order to believe something so silly like this. You never win as a guy unless you simply say, oh yeah, no worries, I understand, and you buy into their subjective delusion and just live like that. I don't want you to be objective with me at all because I don't value truth. What I value is my subjective feelings at all times, no matter how delusional they truly are. This is why I always argue in favor of playing the game, because getting into any sort of logical, objective conversation about this is never going to benefit you as a guy. Most of the time, they don't really mean what they say anyways, and they're going to choose their emotions subjectively regardless of what stance they may take logically. So engaging in any sort of discussion or argument is always a waste of time. Let's keep going.
does it make sense that a girl starts having to pay for more because she's in a relationship? So, just saying, I know so many pretty girls who don't get anything for free. Sometimes it's like right place, right time. I just wanted to put that out there. Still have the opportunity to, and that's the point. It doesn't mean girls ask for free stuff. It doesn't mean they did anything in return other than show up and get the free stuff. It's just kind of how the world works. And you should never feel bad about it because I'm a firm believer that it's a man's job to pursue the woman. Obviously, in a relationship, a woman has her duty to the guy as well. That's not what this video is about. Weird way, it is kind of a subtle way for men to pursue women by giving them free stuff. Even if
Pretty
they
much.
don't necessarily expect something in return, there's still an energy exchange there. And one way that men can pursue their partner throughout their entire life is by providing for them.
And once again, I don't have a problem with any of these realities. Obviously, the prettier the girl, the more free stuff she's probably going to get because more guys want to throw their hat in the ring, essentially. And the only way they know how to do it is by giving them a gift or something free, some sort of value to basically be noticed. The only problem I have, of course, is when all of society wants to pretend that this isn't a reality. It just goes back to the classic thing I talk about all the time on this channel. They want to have their cake and eat it too. You as a guy, of course, have to force them to make a choice. They cannot have both. At least not on your watch. Of course, with the hyper pretty girls, it's going to be very, very difficult to pull this off because there's always somebody else that's able to provide the cake without them having to eat it. So be careful and be very aware when you're engaging in this type of dynamic. Unfortunately, to have any sort of backbone in the relationship, you have to make sure you put them in a situation where they're forced to make a choice. And you don't do this overtly, you do this passively now. You give them the option, you tell them what you want. You let them dictate their own fate and act accordingly. If they engage in behavior where they want to have their cake and eat it too on your watch, you have to just passively and quietly disqualify them from being a potential long-term partner and just move on and keep playing the dating game. A lot of people are immediately going to jump against me and say, oh, well, you have to at least have a discussion and having some sort of talk about it is useful. I personally think all these things are completely, utterly useless. You give a person a chance to make a decision and they blatantly go against you for their own self-interest, there's really not that much you can do to change that person until they're ready to make that change. It's not your job to change them. It's your job to change yourself. Despite saying all of this, I still think that in order to avoid being hypocritical, you still got to play your role as the man. Pay for the date and put yourself in the position when you're able to do so. Yes, you're inevitably going to waste some money, but this is just part of the process. If you don't do this, you're just going to take the risk that you're not going to get the exact dynamic you want. And I've seen so many guys in some sort of dating situation where they try to play by the new rules and they end up hollowing out their entire personality, feeling weak, and it eventually comes back to haunt them. Don't be like those guys. Don't be that tag along guy that's trying so hard to chase some girl that's really just logically choosing you just to satisfy her ego, while meanwhile she actually desires other men. Pay attention to her actions, not to her words. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Don't forget to check my links in the description below.